There's something people still argue about today. Was Muhammad Ali the greatest because of what he did in the ring, or because of what he refused to do outside of it? Some say his punches changed boxing. Others say his decisions changed America. But by the time the world saw him lying in a hospital bed, fighting for every breath, the truth was clear. Ali had lived more than one lifetime, and understanding how he died means understanding everything he endured along the way, in the spotlight, in silence, and inside his own body. This is the real story. How the legend was made, how the decline began, and how medical reality finally caught up with the man who spent decades outrunning it. Muhammad Ali entered the world as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., born in Louisville, Kentucky. His father, Cassius Clay Sr., was a proud, artistic man who painted signs and billboards. His mother, Odessa Clay, worked long hours as a domestic helper. The family lived in the segregated South, a place where a young black boy learned early that the world would not be fair, and certainly not gentle. One day, when he was 12 years old, his bicycle was stolen. The anger he felt that day pushed him into a boxing gym owned by a police officer named Joe Martin. That stolen bike, that small moment of injustice, lit the fire that built an icon. And Ali wasn't just talented, he was electric. By 1954, he was fighting amateur bouts. By 1960, he was a gold medalist in Rome. But even Olympic gold didn't protect him from American racism. When he returned home and was refused service at a diner because of his skin color, he reportedly threw his medal into the Ohio River. That moment didn't break him. It sharpened him. Ali's rise was fast, loud, and unforgettable. In his early 20s, he shocked the world by beating Sonny Liston, yelling the words that became his signature, "I must be the greatest." But here's the part most documentaries don't emphasize strongly enough. The victory wasn't just athletic. It was political, cultural, and deeply personal. With the help of Malcolm X, he joined the Nation of Islam, rejecting the name Cassius Clay. He chose Muhammad Ali, meaning worthy of praise, the Most High. He was not afraid of the world's reaction. And the world reacted exactly how you imagine, with shock, fascination, and anger. Ali was no longer just a fighter. He was a symbol, and symbols attract conflict. When the Vietnam War draft reached his name, Muhammad Ali said no. Not maybe. Not someday. No. He famously explained that he would not travel across the planet to harm people who had never insulted him. It was one of the boldest public refusals in American sports history. The response was immediate. His boxing license was taken. His heavyweight title was stripped. He was banned from the sport for over 3 years, during what should have been his peak. And he was convicted of draft evasion. He fought the conviction all the way to the Supreme Court, and won. But the lost years, the missed fights, the mental strain, those never came back. This period hardened him, and it also ensured that when he returned to the ring, every punch would carry the weight of politics, race, religion, and identity. The 70s delivered the rivalries that made Ali immortal. He took on George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle, using the risky and now legendary rope-a-dope strategy. He dragged Foreman into exhaustion and reclaimed the heavyweight title. He went to war with Joe Frazier in the Thriller in Manila, a fight so brutal that both men were pushed to the edge of collapse. Some experts still believe that no heavyweight bout has ever matched the violence, the heat, or the psychological weight of that night. Ali won. But every victory left a scar. As early as the mid-70s, doctors were concerned. Ali's speech sometimes slowed. His hands shook occasionally. His reactions weren't as sharp. After the 1977 fight with Ernie Shavers, medical tests revealed something alarming: blood and kidney tissue in his urine. In simple terms, His kidneys had taken enough damage in the ring to start breaking down, and that wasn't the only warning sign. In 1976, after an unconventional match against Antonio Inoki, the repeated kicks to Ali's legs caused blood clots to form. He recovered, but the damage didn't fully disappear. Behind the charisma, behind the jokes, behind the bravado, Muhammad Ali's body was sending messages he ignored, and messages the world didn't want to hear. By 1980, Ali was not the same fighter, but pressure, pride, and the promise of another payday pushed him into a comeback fight against Larry Holmes. This decision became one of the most tragic turning points of his life. To burn weight quickly, he used medications like Thyrolar, which altered his thyroid and heart function, Dietrix, a stimulant that increased strain on his system. He lost over 20 pounds in a matter of weeks, not naturally, not healthily. He entered the ring dehydrated, weakened, and unprotected by the reflexes that once made him untouchable. The fight was brutal. Holmes dominated from start to finish, and in the 10th round, Ali's trainer stopped it, a rare moment of mercy in a career built on defying limits. When Ali walked out of that arena, the world didn't know it yet. But the decline had already started. In 1984, the truth finally had a name: Parkinson's disease. For the next over 3 decades, it stripped him piece by piece. Parkinson's is not just tremors. It's slowed movement, it's slurred speech, it's difficulty swallowing. It's the weakening of lungs, muscles, and reflexes. It increases the risk of pneumonia, infections, hospitalization, and eventually organ failure. But even as his body betrayed him, Ali kept moving. He lit the Olympic torch in Atlanta. He became a symbol of courage. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He inspired millions, even when he could barely speak. Ali didn't smoke, Ali didn't drink, but he had one dangerous habit: sugar. Desserts were his weakness. He even poured 11 teaspoons of sugar into a single cup of tea, and for a man with chronic inflammation and neurological decline, it made everything worse. Still, he carried himself with dignity. When a fighter steps into the ring, the rules are clear. There are rounds, ropes, a referee, and the chance to walk away. But the final battle of Muhammad Ali's life gave him none of that. No bell, no corner, just a hospital room, monitors, and a body trying to survive a war it could no longer win. To understand how he died, we need to reconstruct those final days, because they reveal exactly how a simple infection became the force that brought down a giant. The first signs: the breathing crisis. It started with serious trouble breathing. Ali had faced pneumonia before, but this time something was different. His lungs were weaker. His cough reflex, already compromised by Parkinson's, wasn't clearing the infection. On the first day of his hospitalization, doctors publicly described his condition as fair. Behind the scenes, it was already far more serious. He was brought to Honor Health Scottsdale Osborne Medical Center, the room quiet except for the rhythm of machines. Ali lay there, eyes half open, struggling for air the way he once struggled against Foreman's punches. Except this time, his strength wasn't enough. Day 2. The kidneys begin to fail. By the next day, doctors noticed that his kidneys were shutting down. Years earlier, his kidneys had been damaged in the ring, especially after the Ernie Shavers match. And now those old wounds returned at the worst possible moment. Dialysis was started. The family was told that his body was not responding. This wasn't just a respiratory infection anymore. This was systemic failure, the early stages of sepsis, one of the deadliest medical emergencies known. Day 3. The silent collapse. On the 3rd day, things grew darker. Ali was placed on preparations for possible intubation, a sign that doctors feared he would no longer breathe on his own. His organs were slowing. His blood pressure was dropping. His body temperature was unstable. Parkinson's had weakened every defense mechanism he had. Reduced swallowing ability, reduced lung strength, increased infection risk, poor cough reflex. A simple infection in a healthy person became a threat in Ali's case. The storm had begun. Day 4, sepsis takes control. On the 4th day, nothing improved. Bacteria from the infection entered his bloodstream, triggering sepsis and then septic shock. A deadly chain reaction where the immune system overreacts and begins shutting down the organs it's supposed to protect. The liver faltered, the kidneys stopped, the lungs struggled, the heart worked harder and harder and harder. His skin grew pale, his breathing slowed, his eyes barely opened. This was the battle no champion can dodge. Day 5, the final day. On the 5th day, the family gathered around him. The room was silent, except for the beeping of monitors and the soft footsteps of nurses. His children stood beside the bed, touching his hands, his face, his shoulders, knowing these moments were the last. Ali's blood pressure collapsed. His organs stopped functioning one by one. Doctors confirmed he had entered full septic shock. When they told the family that nothing more could be done, they leaned close and whispered the words that would guide him out. "You can go now. We will be okay. You can go back to God now." At 9:10 p.m., Muhammad Ali passed away. But even then, his body refused to surrender immediately. His heart, the same heart that powered him through wars in Manila, Kinshasa and Zaire, kept beating for 20 to 30 more minutes after life support was turned off. A final reminder of who he was. There was no mystery, no conspiracy, no hidden cause. The autopsy and medical findings confirmed the exact sequence. Primary cause of death, septic shock caused by a severe respiratory infection. How it unfolded: a respiratory infection weakened his lungs. Pneumonia worsened the inflammation. Bacteria entered the bloodstream. Sepsis developed. Blood pressure collapsed. Organs shut down. The body reached irreversible failure. Organs affected: lungs, kidneys, liver, cardiovascular system. Contributing factors: advanced Parkinson's, weakened cough reflex, inability to clear mucus, higher infection risk, previous kidney trauma from old fights, acute renal failure in final days, age-related vulnerability, chronic inflammation, immune system, exhaustion. What did not cause his death? Not head trauma, not poisoning, not an embolism, not drugs, not sudden cardiac arrest alone, not any hidden condition. The truth was simple and devastating. Ali died from septic shock, triggered by a respiratory infection and accelerated by the long-term effects of Parkinson's. His body had simply fought for too long. Muhammad Ali returned to Louisville one last time. More than 10,000 people lined the streets. Some carried signs, some cried, some held photos of the young champion shouting, dancing, celebrating. Others remembered the man with trembling hands lighting the Olympic torch. Everyone understood they were saying goodbye to more than an athlete. At the memorial service, Bill Clinton spoke about Ali's courage. Billy Crystal honored the entertainer inside the fighter. Bryant Gumbel talked about the man behind the myth. Celebrities, presidents, activists, boxers, they came from every corner of the world. Flags lowered, murals appeared overnight, and in that moment, Louisville felt like the center of the universe. Ali was buried at Cave Hill Cemetery, a peaceful resting place for a man who spent his life in motion. Muhammad Ali's life was not just a story of punches thrown or titles won. It was the story of a man who refused to live quietly, who refused to follow the script the world handed him, who refused to bow to fear, to politics, to disease, or even to the expectations of an entire country. He changed boxing. He changed America. He changed the meaning of courage. And even when his voice faded, even when his hands shook, even when his body failed, the world still listened. Because the world understood exactly who he was. A fighter who didn't stop when the bell rang. A man who didn't surrender when everything else did. A legend whose heart kept beating long after the machines went silent. This was Muhammad Ali, and this, from the rise to the fall to the medical truth behind his final moments, is the real story of the greatest. If this story moved you, if you learned something new about the man behind the legend, then make sure you stay with us. Hit subscribe, tap the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Every story we tell lives because you're here listening, and your support helps us keep uncovering the truth behind the lives that shaped our world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.